All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Tuesday morning Inner Circle Live session. I'm your host, Ryan Carthage. We'll be joined shortly by my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. Hope everybody is doing well today. So, as always, let's turn off all distractions, prepare your minds and your bodies to engage, as you guys always do. And for the courtesy of everybody on the call, please ensure that your mic is muted if you're not actively asking a question or making a comment. All right, so we're going to dive in. Got some updates to get. I want to update the New Zealand dollar pairs. Got some news coming in today on those, and then take a look at some of those dollar pairs and dollar setups that Benny went over on Saturday. So, without further ado, let's switch over and get right to it. So, real quick, if you could do me a favor and drop me a 1 in the chat if you can hear me okay, and if you can see my trading economic screen. Had to change to my office setup. So, all right, beautiful. All right, so from a news announcement perspective, we don't have a lot that has transpired. Investors are sitting pretty tight and just observing at the moment, because of some of the things that are coming out today and later on this week. So you got dollar eases as Fed outlook mulled. The dollar index fell to around 107.5 on Tuesday, giving back some of its gains from the previous session as investors cautiously await the latest Federal Reserve meeting minutes that could guide the outlook for U.S. rates. Traders also parsed through various remarks from Fed officials who have largely maintained a strong commitment to bring down inflation. Right, so that tone hasn't changed from a Fed perspective. Okay, you had in the latest commentary, San Francisco Fed President Mary Daly warned against over tightening, while Cleveland Fed President Loretta Mester said that she wants to see inflation come down sustainably before supporting a pause. All right, so on Monday, the dollar jumped 1% as worsening COVID situation in China spurred safe haven demand for the currency. The greenback slipped across the board, with most pronounced selling versus the Kiwi, New Zealand dollar, ahead of the Reserve Bank of New Zealand's policy decision. All right, so you got some back and forth happening there. We had a nice push up on the dollar. Now we're getting a little bit of a retracement. And this mentioned here, we got another COVID outbreak in China, and they had the first COVID death in like 6 months. So China's preparing to potentially go back into another lockdown. So that'll also impact your oil as well. So keep that in mind. And then, right, NZD dollar firms up ahead of RBNZ decision. New Zealand dollar firmed up above 61 cents on Tuesday, holding its ground against ahead of Reserve Bank of New Zealand's policy decision, where it's expected to deliver an unprecedented 75 basis point rate hike to get inflation under control. That would potentially be the biggest increase since the RBNZ introduced the OCR in 1999, and will take the policy rate to a 14-year high of 4.25%. Stubbornly high inflation, near record low unemployment in New Zealand supported the case for a more aggressive move, in contrast to other major economies which have started to slow the pace of tightening amid growing risk of global recession. Right, annual inflation rate in the country surged 7.2% in the third quarter, exceeding the central bank's 6.4% forecast, while inflation expectations jumped to the highest since 1991. Right, so we're expecting the Reserve Bank of New Zealand to come in pretty hawkish. Okay, that's the expectation as of now. We'll see if that actually comes through. So we'll take a look at New Zealand dollar pairs and see what's happening there. Over to the calendar, we have you see we got a bunch of speakers, right, from the different central banks coming to the microphone early in the week. we have Richmond Manufacturing Index, right? Manufacturing Index could give us some more insight, similar to the Philly Fed. Not as strong though. But then tonight, right, we got this cash rate coming in for New Zealand at 8 o'clock. The press conference at 9, right? So during our session this evening, we'll be able to see how the market is moving as that press conference occurs. Then tomorrow we have French flash services PMI coming out of Europe. You got German PMI, and then you got PMI coming out of Great Britain. Okay, so some PMI data coming out early in the morning tomorrow that could definitely give us some volatility there. Then we have PMI for the dollar, United States dollar, coming in at 945. And then tomorrow at 2 p.m., you got the FOMC meeting minutes, right, to give us insight on the conversation from the last Fed meeting. This is really where eyes are pointed, right? Everybody's looking for this coming out tomorrow, so we could see some small volatile moves depending on how some of those PMI numbers come out, and then right, all in preparation for that data, that information there, and then that'll wrap it up for the week, right? We got in the United States, we got Thanksgiving on Thursday, yeah, and then everybody's shopping day on Friday. So that's the week in a nutshell. We got any questions from a fundamental perspective? No? All right. All right, cool deal. So let's hop over to the charts. We'll take a look at the dollar real quick, and then we'll hop into these New Zealand dollar pairs. So right, this is the dollar on the daily. Push down to this 382 level in this daily support, right? Which we're looking for that to occur. And then we got this nice bounce, right? Nice push off, broke back above this previous support level here, right? And this zone served as resistance that we pushed above. Now we're coming back to potentially retest this area a little bit, okay? So we'll watch to see if this level holds again for us, right? And as you're looking at your dollar pairs, if you're in those to the upside, you're probably seeing those retracements come now, and then see if we get something like that to occur and continue making these higher lows and higher highs, right? So that's what we're looking at on the dollar currently, right? And this is another look from the 4. Okay, nice bullish move, getting this retracement now. Then we'll look to see if we get that bounce. Okay. So that's it on the dollar, right? And we'll continue to watch it. Good conversation yesterday in the Telegram chat. Benny said that he thinks the dollar could remain bullish for the remainder of the year and into the beginning of 2023. So we shall see as we start to make some of these lower highs and lower lows there. Okay, so that's the dollar. That's where we sit. That'll give us a little bit of context for New Zealand dollar when we take a look at it, and the other dollar pairs if we have some time to get to them towards the end of the session. Okay, so New Zealand. We'll start with this NZD JPY. Right, we're just ranging. Okay, if we wanted to, we could take this fib off and just look at this range here. Currently, we're pushing back to the top of the range. Okay, back to the top of the range, broke back above this previous weekly level. Right, yeah, and we're just hovering up here. Okay, so we want to see, got that news coming later on today. Do we push up and get back to this weekly resistance level, or do we come back down? Okay. If the Reserve Bank of New Zealand does come in with that 75 basis point hike, right, that could definitely make the market a little volatile for these New Zealand pairs. We did get a 50% retracement off the fib, right? So it wouldn't be crazy for price to push up and start moving higher. Okay, it wouldn't be out of bounds. Now, we do have to also keep in mind that some of that could be paired because New Zealand is a commodity currency that could be paired as investors still are looking at the meeting minutes for tomorrow, right? So we could see some initial movement and then price come back and kind of stabilize and sit and wait for tomorrow. Because if the Fed is still hawkish, right, investors won't be putting their money into the commodities, right? They'll be looking more for safe haven assets, which in this particular case would be the yen. Okay, so we know the yen is still what the yen is, but we could see this push back down to the bottom of this range if in those meeting minutes the Fed is still hawkish. Okay, if they took a hawkish tone in those meeting minutes. So just keep that in mind. Okay, as we drop down to the 4, right, it's more the same, right? So what I'm looking at here really is pop in. What I'm really looking at here is do we start to get trend line breaks, right? I'm just looking at this range as a whole as I move down through the lower time frames, right? And I'm looking at it like this. Okay. And do we get a breakout? Do we get a breakout above this, or do we stay in the top and then get a trend line break back down? Okay. So we'll run a trend line to the upside like this. Okay, so that's what we're looking at on the 4, right? And as we drop down to the 1, we'll have an inner trend line come like this. If we get a nice trend line break and potentially a break back below this level, and I'll go back to the daily and clean up some of these support resistance levels. I haven't touched this one just because I've just watched this range play out. But if we get a break back below, then that could be entry opportunity for us to play at least the range back to the downside, right? If we break out to the upside, right, back to what Benny's really been pressing in on, right, is the break and retest, right? So if we press to the upside here and we break out to the upside like that, then we look for a pullback and a retest at the top of that range and then see if we get long. Okay, if we break above and then come back below and break that trend line, then all bet that upside bet is now off, and we're looking for those downside movements. Okay, but that's how I'm looking at this one. Just because it's been in this range for quite some time. So if we go back to the weekly time frame, I'm going to clean the fibs out, and let's see here. I'll move this weekly level up, and I'll take that one out. This weekly level, I'll move down there, right? That's our support. That's our resistance. Those levels there. We'll go back to the daily. That's there. On the daily, we've got resistance there. We've got support there. We've got support there. Okay. And we got another support level here. So these are updated levels. These are updated levels. There. Okay, so that's a little bit cleaner for us to look at, right? But we got those support levels in place. This is a daily resistance level. So we could push into that daily resistance and then turn over, okay? Or we could push into that weekly resistance and pause, right? So somewhere in this range, we could see some consolidation if price pushes into that zone, okay? Now back on your 1, this is that look there, okay? So that's what we're looking at there. If you wanted to run your fib off the bottom of this range, just look at it from a 1-hour perspective, you could, right? And you're looking at here, right? You got a 382 retracement with that push down, this double bottom here, Price running to the upside with a matching D extension just above this daily resistance level, right? So as we talked about, if we get a push up, break, and then come back, then we'll look to see that come back down. Okay, so that's the look on the New Zealand yen, right? More of a range play than anything else, but we could get a 1 hour fib matching the extension at the 1618 level here, hit if price continues to push up throughout the day today. Okay, questions on the New Zealand yen? No. All right. New Zealand Swissy. We'll come back and we'll clean this one up as well. Give us a fresh look. This is our week. Nope. We'll leave that right where it is. Pull the fibs out for a second. This is our look here on the weekly time frame. To the daily, this is where we sit. At a daily support right here. Okay, we got this push off to the upside. We're coming back to this daily resistance level we've been hovering at. Okay, so we want to see, do we break above this daily resistance level, which also was support here, right? Do we break above and continue higher with the news, or do we break down and move back down to the downside, right? That's just from a support resistance perspective, right? We got a trend line break and we're getting a pullback here. So when it came back to the top of that range, that tells us that we're could be in a range, right? Back to the top, didn't break out. So this trend line, we will adjust to the outermost point, right? Like so. So that's where we sit from a support and resistance perspective. If we come back and we run our fib off the high, okay, we're sitting in the 618 retracement zone, okay, in line with that daily resistance, right? So we're in a key zone, at a key level, and we want to see, do we get a reaction back to the downside here, or do we continue pressing to the upside, right? Get us deeper into that zone. This is another area, right? We have some consolidation in this range right here, right? So this is another area that we could potentially come back to retest, okay? So that's also a possibility if we break above this daily level, right? So also keep that in mind as you're looking at potential entries after the news settles. Don't be surprised if you get another push to the upside to the 78686 range, okay? As we go down to the 4 hour, right? There's our fib there. Similar look, right? Sitting at a 618 retracement on the 4 hour time frame, a daily resistance. So this is telling us this is a key level for us to pay attention to, right? And it's all about how the Reserve Bank of New Zealand comes out with their statement. All right. So we'll continue to watch this and make sure that we utilize all of our confirmations when looking for these entry opportunities, right? There's your inner trend line there. We get down to the 1, we could bring another trend line up as well. All right, but just ranging right now in this zone, and we want to see, does this daily level continue to hold strong, or do we break back down? I mean, or do we break above and push to the next level? Okay. As we get to the 1, we'll run our fib from the bottom to the top. So in here on your 1, right, this tells us there's potentially some more upside movement, right? 59918. But we'll need a catalyst to get there, right? So back to the news for that rate statement. Okay, so this was your trend line moving to the upside like so. right? That would have been your trend line. That would have been your trend line break. And then it kind of pushed sideways, right? That's your trend line break. And then we got that sideways movement. So if we push back up to this daily resistance level, right, then I'll adjust this trend line out like that, right? But right now, this is our trend line break, and that's where we sit. Okay, so that daily level is going to be key for us to pay attention to. All right. Questions on the New Zealand Swissy? No? Okay. Cool deal. Cool deal. New Zealand CAD. Daily time frame perspective. Right. We didn't get to that 382. Came just shy. Pushed down. Didn't get to that D extension, 1618 D extension. Right. And we got this nice push back to the upside. Again, here, sitting at a key level, right? All these New Zealand pairs are sitting at key levels, right? We want to pay attention to that, okay? So this weekly and daily resistance are going to be key for us to watch as we move through the day. Do we break above to get to that 382, or do we get another push back down to the downside, okay? As we drop down to the 4, zoom back out here. Okay. That's where we sit on the 4. We pushed up, got to that 786 retracement with this wick here. So we got a 786 retracement. So that would move our matching D extension to this 127. Okay. If we get a push back down to the downside, if we take out the A, obviously then we're flipping it and we're moving to the upside. But matching D extension currently is 127 at 77807. Okay. So we'll need a break of the trend line and a push down in order to get there, right? So coming into a key inflection point, right? We got resistance sitting here, right? We got a trend line running to the upside, and it's what way, which direction does price want to break out? What does the catalyst give us, right? So that's what we're going to be watching for. And this is what we'll get, either push up, and we'll continue to ride this trend line to the upside, or we'll get a breakdown. Retest it and continue rocking. Okay. So that's what I'm looking for here, is one of those two options. Okay. One of those two options. So as we drop down to the 1, let's see. One second, just looking for the fib on this one. Take that out. Yeah, that's taken out. So we'll run our fib from the low here, like so, right? And here on the 1, right, we're sitting at a B boundary, didn't quite get to a 382 level, right? And we're just bouncing right now, right? We broke back below this previous weekly resistance level, right? And we're retesting that level now, and we're trying to push back down, okay? So we'll see how price plays at this trend line, right? And see if we get a nice break of it to the downside, and that'll give us some good movement back down. But we got to wait and see. Okay, got to wait and see. But that's what I'm looking for, right? Those are the two options there. We could even get potentially a double top scenario, push back above this weekly level into this daily level, right? And give us a double top scenario here, right? And then a push down So these levels, that zone right there is going to be what we watch throughout the day today. Okay. Overall, I'm looking short here, but I'll need a catalyst in order to get that to happen, right? We could push a little higher before we get that short opportunity, right? But my bias on this one is to the downside. No questions here? Okay. And then the NZD dollar. Excuse me. Pop back to the daily. All right, so from a daily time frame perspective, this is where we sit on the fib. Okay. Still shy of that 382 on the daily, right? But we come into this daily resistance here. Okay. And price is just stalling. So we want to see, are we able to break above this zone and get to that 382? Or do we stay below that zone, right? And things move in favor of the dollar, right? Overall, we are still dollar bullish. It's just a matter of when we get that move to happen, right? When we get that move to happen. So right now we're just pushing sideways from a daily time frame perspective. We drop down to the 4. Come all the way back. Let's see. Pull these out. Back to the 4. We'll run the fib off of this high. So, whoops. I don't know what I did with that level. There we go. So this is what we'll look like on the 4. Okay. So what will look like on the 4. Shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone. Price made a beautiful retracement. So we're sitting at a 50% retracement level now. This next daily level is in line with that 618 retracement level. Okay. So it's all about these levels, man. Right? All about these levels. Do we get one more push to the upside to get to this daily resistance level and then break down? Right? Or do we stay below and just start that breakdown now? All right. That's the question. Okay. So then we can build our thoughts and our entry opportunities off of those if-then statements, right? If price pushes up into the 618 retracement level on the 4-hour time frame, right? Then breaks my trend line, there's my entry opportunity, right? Or if price stays below this daily level, then breaks my trend line, there's my entry opportunity, right? So those if-then statements are key for us as we're building out our rules and looking for those entry opportunities. Okay, so that's the look on the 4. 50% retracement could potentially push that 618 depending on how that rate statement comes out today. All right, and we'll drop down to the 1. Get a closer look. We want to see something here. Okay. Cool deal. So we'll run these fibs on the 1 off of the low right here. And here we are sitting in this 118, 127 zone, right? So key level, 50% retracement on the 4 at a daily resistance level, right? So we want to see. We want to see what happens here, okay? We want to see what happens. So this is what we're looking for here. On the 1 hour time frame, we got an 80-20 scenario. All right, we're getting that consolidation that we like to see. So now it's, do we get the additional confirmation of price turning over and breaking our trend line? Right. If it does not, you don't get a break of your trend line, right? Allow price to rise, get to the extension there, right? And that next daily level. Then we'll look for a reset on the 1, right? And that deeper retracement on the 4. Okay. This 1 hour 1618 extension comes in line with that 4 hour 618 retracement level, right? So some confluence there of that level. So we want to watch to see when price turns over and gives us that entry opportunity. Okay. So we'll watch this closely to see if we turn over and push back down. Right. That is that on the 1 for the New Zealand dollar. Questions here? I got a hand raised. Ms. Cassandra, what's up?
Good morning.
Good morning.
The 06161, that level right there, did you pull that from the, I don't see that on the daily, and I'm thinking maybe it was a level that had been there.
Right here.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So if you wanted to, right, you could adjust that up. It'd be that level at 61994, right? It's hovering in the zone, right? So I chose to leave it as that previous level. Or you can do both. That would be up to you. Right. But that's that previous resistance there, right? And this is that current level there. So then it'll look like this.
Okay.
You got this level here?
Yes, I have that one. Yeah, sometimes, like with the levels that the platform will give us, I don't see the second levels, and I see now, to go back and see if they're old levels or if they're levels that you're drawing in.
Yeah, those old levels, I'll keep them for a little while, right? Just because, like, at this point, right, price is hovering at that previous resistance level, right? So that tells me that it's still a key point to keep our eyes on, right? And what it does is it puts us in the space where, okay, now this is the zone of interest that we'll want to keep our eyes on to see, do we break out above, or do we stay in this range and then push down below?
Okay.
Right. So that's kind of how I look at it from that perspective. But those previous levels, at least for a period of time. Now, if we get a break back above this level, right, then that'll say, okay, a strong break above and we continue rising, then I'll pull that level out, because now we're not consolidating at that level. So that tells me that level has now been invalidated because price broke through it and continued moving.
Got it.
That makes sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, Reese, I'm looking forward to, I'm sorry, Donette. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. All right. I'd love to see this go ahead and break down, and give that nice push to the downside. Could take a little bit while longer though, right? Could have to wait until tomorrow to really see some movement there. Okay. Any other questions here? Well, all right, cool deal. Let's take a look at this pound New Zealand. I haven't taken a look at this in a while. Let's see. We'll do a fresh markup on this one, actually, I believe. Doing what we wanted it to do. We'll leave it there. All right, so we got daily support level there. We'll add in these daily levels and we'll move from where we are. Daily resistance level there. Right, and this is the range that we're just hovering in right now. Support level there. And a support level there. Okay. I'll move this daily level. We broke through that and we're hovering here. So this is what we're looking like from a support resistance perspective on this pound New Zealand, right? Had a beautiful 80-20 scenario here. Didn't quite push up into that 118, 127 zone, but we got a beautiful breakdown, right? And a head and shoulder pattern here that also pushed down to finish out. So now we're getting the sideways movement, right? Just in consolidation, not able to break out in one direction or the other. So we get down to the 4. Right, on the 4-hour time frame, we're sitting right at the 618 retracement level. Yep, sitting right at this 618 retracement level. Okay, this was the head and shoulders pattern here. Right, played out to the downside. Right, so that one. Not quite completed yet, right? The extension off of that harmonic fib is here, right? So we could be in for one more push to the downside potentially, right? Come back down, maybe give us a double bottom at this daily support level and tap that 1618 extension at 190951, right? So that's potential there. Potential double bottom scenario, something like that. Right, so this one I'm going to sit tight on and see what happens, right? But that's the range. We're pushing back down to the bottom of the range. That could be the bottom of the range, still in that 618 retracement zone there, okay? And then we'll watch it to see what happens. So that's on the 4, and we drop down to the 1. And our fib is similar to the 4, right? So we're hovering in the key zone, and we would just want to be patient here, right? You can run your trend line off the high and wait for a break. Like so. Okay. See if price pushes down and then gives us a nice reversal. The other thing too is for a buying opportunity, right? With us being in this range, you can either play it off the double bottom if we get it, right? If price stays in that range, you can play that double bottom, maybe back to the top of the range, right? That'd be a nice move to the upside, 300 pips, right? Or if you're looking more of a long-term scenario, potentially coming back to the 1618 extension, right? So we're 1,000 pips to the upside, right? I'd want to see a break above this daily level here and break out of that range, right? See a break above a retest, and then see if we can get a continuation long like that, right? So that's what I'd be looking for if I'm looking at a long-term scenario, and I don't play that double bottom move right there. Okay, so we'll watch to see if we get that double bottom, but if we get it, right, that could be some of the action that we see over a longer term period on this New Zealand, pound New Zealand, right? So we'll watch to see. We got pound PMI coming out tomorrow, so that's another thing that will also potentially give us a catalyst as well, depending on how that PMI data comes out for us. Okay, so but this is what I'm looking at here. We'll watch this daily support level, see if we get just a spike down and then a reversal, and see if we can get long on this one at this daily support with a double bottom. Okay, questions here on the pound New Zealand? No. Okay, cool deal. And Aussie New Zealand is making its way. So back on this weekly time frame, right? Beautiful break, right? This was weekly support, right? We got a beautiful break here. Getting a little bit of indecision right now, right? But price is still trying to push to the downside. So we want to see, do we at some point get a retracement to come back and retest this level, right? So this is from a weekly perspective, right? Longer term perspective here. As we drop down to the daily, right? you had a beautiful 80-20 scenario play out. Shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone, breakdown, right? Broke back below this daily resistance level, retested that level, pushed down, right? This was a level of support. We broke that level of support, came back, retested that level of support, right? These are those break and retests that Benny's been talking about for the past few days, right? Break, retest, break, retest, break, right? This is that support level here. Do we get a retest, right? We're at a 382 level, which we like to see. Is there more downward movement here, but do we get a pullback to retest this level, at least retest that level that we just broke through, okay? So as we get down to the 4, right, fibs running off the high, we got a 50% retracement, matching the extension is here. So still some more downward movement to go, right, to get to the matching the extension there, right? So it's all about, when does that pullback occur? Does it occur here? All right. And then give us that push down? Or do we get to the D extension first and then give us that pullback? So that's yet to be seen, right? But we're breaking through levels. Now we want to watch to see how the market responds, to see if we get that retracement to occur. Okay, so in the 4 hour, right, still more downward movement to go. It's just a matter of, do we get a pullback first? Okay, so as we get down to the 1, right, surprise, surprise, fresh AB boundary. We're getting some consolidation right now. So 118, 127 zone is in line with this daily support, right? So come back, right? Just below, right, we got that support level here, right, on the 4. Okay, got that support level here on the 4, right? And then a daily level there. So we come down here now, right? And this daily level is in line with the 382 on this 1 hour fib, right? Previous support level. So 118, 127 zone, retracement, right? Break, retest. So this is one to keep your eyes on, right? For more of a potential shorter term play. All right, run your trend line to the downside, like so. Okay. Okay. Now we wait to see how the news comes out, right? What the data says, how the market responds. Right? Let me see if we get that push. See if we get that push. Bang. Okay. So keep your eyes on this one as we move through the day and into this evening. Okay. Questions here? No. All right. All right. All right. That is definitely one of interest. So let's go to this Euro NZD. Ebony, you still holding this short?
My bad. No, I'm out of this.
No problem. Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Beautiful move, though. Beautiful
It
move,
was
right?
forever, but
Yeah, definitely was forever. Definitely was forever. So look, right? Shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone. Didn't get to the D extension. Consolidation, right? Push down, right? 382 is here. You see, we're breaking through previous support, right? Previous support. We're breaking through that level. Pushing strong, headed to that 382, right? Headed to the 382. So if we get a nice break and close below, right, we'll look for a pullback and a retest at some point. And then we'll see if we get a continuation, right, or deeper retracement, potentially coming down to the 618 level, right, previous consolidation. Okay, so pushing to the downside, beautiful move here, right? As we drop to the 4, this is what that looks like. Let's see, I don't have a large one here. Nope, okay. Yep, so this is what that looks like. This is the move to the downside. I'm coming into, right, we got off this fib here, AB boundary, 786 retracement, right? Price is pressing to the downside. So if you trade those deep retracements, this was your opportunity here to get short, right? Matching the extension, 127 at 1.66063, in line with, right, this dotted line here is your daily 382, right? So we got some confluence here, and we'll see what happens once we get there, right? Do we get there? And then does that then give us a retracement opportunity to come back and retest this level that we just broke, right? Break, retest. Okay, so that's your 4. Get down to your 1. Similar story, right? Your 4-hour D extension was just above this daily 382, right? Your 1-hour D extension is just below that 382. So now we're looking at price coming into this zone. This is the zone that we're going to watch. Price to get to that daily 382. See if we get some consolidation in here, fresh AB boundary on the 4-hour and on the 1-hour. See if we get that pullback from there, right? So that's what we'll look for. That's what we'll look for, is price to come into the zone. Once it gets here, we'll come back and we'll take a look to see what happens, right? See if we get a new entry opportunity, a new setup, right? New fib to form, new fib to pop in, bang, right? And then we'll look to play it from there once that occurs, right? So this one's sitting wait a little bit, still pushing to the downside, right? But we'll look for a retracement opportunity as price gets that daily 382. Okay, you guys follow me on all of that?
Yes.
Sweet. Sweet. So that's where we are, right? So this one's a wait and see, allowed to continue to push to the downside. What's up, Poppy? No,
Hi,
no question.
Ryan.
How
No,
are
no
you?
question. Sorry. I'm good, and you?
Doing well. Doing well.
Thank you.
Good to see you. So that's where we are, right? So that's the Euro NZD. All right. Let's take a look at some of these dollar pairs, dollar crosses. Aussie dollar first. Right. So here we pushed up into this 50% retracement off the daily, right? Didn't quite get to the 618 level. And we started this breakdown, right? We started this breakdown. Now we're getting a little bit of a retracement off of the strong move down. Okay, so we come to the 4. Shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone. Price is moving to the downside, right? We broke this level of support. We're coming back to retest that level of support. Okay, we'll see if we get another push to the upside. We saw the dollar index, right? It was retracing, coming back to retest that level that it broke through. So we're getting a little bit of a pullback here on this Aussie dollar, right? So could get more of a retracement here potentially, but overall, we're still looking for this thing to turn over and continue pressing down, okay? So this is our 4-hour look. 50% comes in with this daily support level, and then our 618 is down here, right? So if we break this previous daily resistance here, right? Let's go back. Right, this is where that level came from, right here, right? Daily resistance, we broke through it, coming back to retest it, right? So we'll see what happens here. If we stay above, we'll get a push. If we break below, then we're headed down, right? So that's why that level is key, right? As a previous level of resistance, that was pretty strong. That was pretty strong, right? So if we break back below it, right? We could be headed for this next level here. So that's what I want to see, right? After we get this retracement, right after this finishes out, do we get the strong push down, break that level, and then head down to that A boundary and take out that A, right? That's what I'm curious to see. So this level is going to be key in order for that to occur, okay? So as we get down to our 1, right, pushing these deep retracement levels now, right? We got the pullback that we wanted, and then price broke down. So now we're getting this another pullback here, okay? So this one tomorrow is going to be key, right, to tell us whether this continues pressing higher or turns over and takes out this A. Okay, so this one we're just sitting tight right now. Continue managing your stops, managing your trade if you're in this short. All right, but it was a beautiful play from last week. Still making this move down. Got a nice retracement, right? And now we're in that continuation move to the downside. Okay. So not much doing there. As long as we stay below the trend line, allow it to stay below the trend line. Okay. So not much doing there. The euro dollar. Similar action, right? Similar action. We pushed up into that 50% retracement level, right? Turn it over and it's pressing down. Right, strong move to the downside. We didn't get that push up to that 618 level like I was looking for, right? We just turned over and pressed down, right? Dollar strength. So we come to the 4. Shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone, breakdown. Over and over and over again, guys. Over and over and over again, right? Break down to the downside. We're hovering at this middle trend line, right? And we'll see if we get price to continue pressing down as we move through tomorrow. Okay. So that's your 4-hour look, but playing out as expected, right? 382 is here. Haven't gotten there yet. Get down to the 1, right? Similar to that Aussie dollar, we're getting to the lower levels of this 1-hour fib. Right, at some point we could likely take that out. We'll continue moving to the downside. If we run a sub fib off of this, these smaller waves to the downside, right? AB boundary. This is our pullback, right? Could get a push and extend. Okay, could still linger up a little further, right? As that dollar continues to retrace, we could see something like this, right? Setting up for that move to the downside. Okay. So that's the euro dollar in this retracement phase right now off the sub fib. We'll see if we can get to these higher levels off of the sub fib and set us up for potentially a retest of the trend line and deep retracement level to then get short again if you aren't already. Okay. Questions on the euro dollar?
Hey, Ryan.
Yo.
So I was just thinking about something. So on that Euro NZD, it's crazy to see that it's almost at its TP that I originally said it was going to go to. But last week, I kind of put myself on punishment because I was taking a lot of the 5-minute setups and I lost a lot of them. So when y'all say like, let your winning trades continue to run, this is just a prime example to do that. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Let those winning trades run, right?
Yes.
So those 5-minute setups, they're really good, but and we talk about this a lot, right? They come with those tighter stop losses. Right. I was in some of them as well that I got stopped out and then price ended up running in the direction anyway. Right. And so on those lower time frames that can occur. Right. And that's where that risk management is really, really, really key. Yeah, you're on a lower time frame, but you still don't want to get too risky when it comes to that lot size, because that can happen, right?
Right.
And you hear Benny say all the time, you don't control the order in which your wins and losses come. So you could go on that streak of 4, 5, 6 losses in a row, right? But it's about managing your risk and understanding that things, as long as you stay consistent with following those rules, things will turn around, right? My father used to say, if your money lasts, your luck will change. Is what he used to tell me when we used to play cards, right? But that's what it is, right? Staying consistent with the process, and it takes some time back, right? And you're doing the right thing to reassess and say, okay, what's my focus and where am I at, right? And take a look. Okay, what can I do differently? And there's there's times where there isn't anything that you did quote unquote wrong, right? You followed your rules, they were met, you took the trade, you took a loss, and that happens, and that's okay. You know what I mean? So that's that on those 5-minute setups. But yeah, you had this Euro NZD on point. You had it on point, right? It was a beautiful setup. But kudos to you. Kudos to you. Right? And so now is going back and assessing, okay, what made me close the trade?
Because I had way too many losses. And
Okay.
But I'm also proud of myself because all of those, even though it was a lot of them, I still was like managing the risk.
Mm-hmm.
So I could afford to lose those, but it was still kind of like psychologically, it was like, okay, well, let me close this out so I can at least have some profit versus just letting it go and letting it hit TP. So just a learning thing.
Yeah. And that's what it is, right? So now what you can say is maybe you make a note to yourself. Even if I have multiple losses in a row, right? If my bias hasn't changed on my long-term swing, I don't close that trade. Maybe you add that in and you put a note somewhere where you can see it. So when you get that feeling again and you see it, you can go back and reassess. Say, okay, has my bias changed on this long-term swing? Yes or no? No? Okay. Allow it to continue doing its thing, even though I just took 4 losses in a row. Right? And so adding in those mental checks that allow you to, stay in line with allowing those longer ones to do their thing, because they can be testy sometimes, right? This retracement here, you're like, oh man, is it going to turn around, right? But going back to, it hasn't gotten to its destination yet, right? And things haven't changed for the euro, and things haven't changed for the New Zealand dollar. No fundamental occurrences. Buy still the same. You follow me?
Yes, thank you. Stick to the plan.
Stick to the plan. Stick to the plan. You got it. Right? It's just small tweaks. And it's a continual process of small tweaks and asking the question of how do we stay in the game? Right? How do we stay in the game? Good job. Right? Being aware and making those adjustments. All right. So this is where we're going to stop. Any questions on anything that we covered this morning? No? All right. Well, you guys have an awesome day. Continue to be patient, right? Continue allowing your rules to be met. Don't rush. Continue digging into the training for new folks, right? It's extremely important that you do so. Continue digging in. Those videos are important. One video at a time in the order in which we have them laid out. We have them laid out that way for a reason. All right. Ben will be back with us tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Asian session. We'll see what happens with this NZD throughout the day and with the news tonight. Until then, you guys have an awesome day. We'll see you later. Peace.